Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly reading. This is going to be an all signs reading, so every sign is welcome. As always, use your discernment to try and figure out, what resonates for you. Take only what resonates and leave the rest. Don't try to force anything to fit, right? So let's jump into this pre-shuffle and get started. So we open with the Five of Cups, which there's a lot of sadness coming off of this card, a lot of disappointment. And I'm not surprised to see this here. I would have hoped to open in a more pleasant place, but I'm not surprised to see this here. This card is popping up a lot in my readings, right? So I've been talking about the closing of a major cycle that seems to be happening, right? I'm picking up on it since I started posting online in December. And it's about connections and relationships that have not been serving people that they have to let go of, right? That's part of the closing of this cycle. And so what I'm seeing on this Five of Cups is that people are starting to accept, right, that these three cups are overturned, right? They're starting to understand fully what has happened in their relationships and why these cups are overturned, right? For the first time, I realized that, there's a red liquid here. I don't know why I'd never really looked that closely. And I think if I had it other times, I probably would have said, oh, that's wine. But it's coming through to me as it's almost like there was blood in those cups. A lot of pain, right? That's why the disappointment energy is here. That's here is so heavy, right? There is a feeling of despondence, and it's almost, there's also an energy of disbelief. It's like somebody can't believe what they're looking at, and they're kind of transfixed by it and fixated on it, right? The danger of this card, as always, of this energy, is that there are two upright cups here that somebody's back is turned to, right? There's still good connections and relationships to be had, right? But if you stay too focused on these three overturned cups, you might never get these two cups, right? And for a lot of people, this two cups represents a two of cups, right? A balanced, fair, equal, loving, healthy relationship, right? If you stay focused on, what I think is toxicity, right? You might stay turned away from good things that might come in, right? Up next, we have the Knight of Pentacles. And I understand why this card is here and how it's tied to this one. It's explaining in part why that disappointment energy is so heavy. Right? With the closing of this major cycle and the opening of the new one, there is this promise of abundance, right? I think most people, they can feel the shift, but they're not seeing it in their real life, right? The Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight, and it can be quite a frustrating energy, right? It feels like it takes forever to come in. So while someone is focused on this heavy disappointment about their relationships, realizing that things were not what they seemed, they're also waiting for this pentacle to come in, and it's just not here yet. Right? It's compounding these feelings of disappointment and maybe even abandonment for some people. It's sort of like, why is nothing going right for me? Right? Why are my relationships failing? Why is my abundance not here yet? Right? It's difficult energy to deal with. But here is another knight, the Knight of Cups, right? Remember I said that there are good relationships coming in that are here, right? You just have to turn around and see them. This knight is coming in. The Knight of Cups carries a genuine emotional offer, sometimes a sincere apology, right? So for some of you, that might mean that, one of these overturned cups might be salvageable if somebody comes in with a sincere apology and they demonstrate changed behavior, right? Either way, there is a cup coming towards you, right? Death, yeah. We're in the the first stage of death is that something has to die. The next stage of it is that so something can live, right? It's about transformation. It's not just about an ending, right? Something has to die so something else can live, right? These relationships have to end for better ones to come in, right? something maybe about your material circumstances has to be moved out of the way to create room for this pentacle to come in, right? So we're closing out the early stages of the death part of the transformation, right? Things are being taken away, things are being stripped away, and it can create this Five of Cups energy, right? This death energy is very powerful in this cycle, and it can be overwhelming and it can feel unfair, right? So don't beat yourself up for being in the Five of Cups if you've been feeling that way. It's understandable, but just try not to be, I don't know, that taken over by this energy, right? Try to focus on the things that are going right, because some things are going right. These two cups are upright and they're here in this picture, right? Up next we have the Five of Swords, yeah. Unsurprising, when these kinds of things happen, these cups overturn in people's lives, the energy of the Five of Swords can often show up in the sense that people want these connections and these relationships to continue as they were or on the other person's terms, right? And people can get a bit quite, a bit aggressive, right, about wanting things to stay the same, right? This is also an energy of self-sabotage, though, right? Sometimes, in the sense that when you engage with that negative energy, you're sort of stacking the deck against yourself even more. Nothing good really ever comes out of the Five of Swords, right? Even if you win the fight, it's such a nasty battle that you can't even savor the victory, right? It's just better to try and avoid this energy if you can. Sometimes you can't, right? You just have to fight your way through it. But if you can sidestep this, please try to, right? And there's that strength that's needed, right? To hold on while death does its work, right? The strength that's needed to just hold on, just keep holding on, right? While death does what needs to be done, right? It's difficult. This stage of this process can be very destabilizing, and strength is here as a reminder that the stability that you need to be the foundation of all of this, a big part of that needs to be inside you, right? Need to tame that part of you that can be a bit not out of control, that's the wrong phrase, but that lacks that maybe focus or stability that I've been talking about, right? This pentacle needs for things to be in the right time and place to come in, right? You see how the cards have the same bright yellow background? They're connected, energetically, right? This Knight of Pentacles, wants to feel this, right? This match before it can come in, right? So this is an interesting reading. Let's see where this goes. I like to shuffle a bit more and have another look at the bottom of the deck before I cut the deck so I can get deeper into the energy, right? So let's see what else is happening. You can get a bit more focused, right? So I'm not surprised to see this kind of difficult energy whenever these major life cycles close. Things go maybe badly is too strong a word. Sometimes they seem to, because they seem to be going badly, right? They seem to be going badly, and it's because that familiarity of that old cycle is being removed, right? And what's going to replace it isn't there yet. And in in the gap between that, it feels like you have nothing, right? And it can be very distressing, right? It can be very distressing. So it's understandable for people to be feeling a bit despondent and maybe feeling like they're on the wrong side of things, that something's unfair. And again, to be focused on things that are going wrong, right? There probably is something that's going right, something small, and that's the beginning of that new cycle coming in, right? So try and focus on that, right? If you want things to speed up, focus on things that are going right at the moment, right? No matter how small it is, right? No matter how small it is. All right, let me shuffle a bit more. Have another look at the bottom of the deck, and then see where we are before I cut the deck into the reading. Okay. Just give me a few more messages to help us get to the bottom of what is going on, and how to help people, move forward in this, right? How to help people move forward, right? Yeah, I'm not surprised to see a tower here. It's like I said, the old has to go, right? The old has to go, right? And that's what's happening. And it feels like a tower because it is a tower, right? This is paired up with that death energy, right? This is a major, major change. It's like, think of it as gut renovating a house, right? When you strip everything down, right? You strip it down to the bones, to the skeleton of the house, and then you rebuild on top of that. For a lot of people, that's the level that this is happening at. It's like their life is being gut renovated, and it's a very difficult and trying process that people struggle through a lot. Right? So don't feel bad about not being super positive all the time and having moments of despair or distress. It's natural, right? Just allow the emotions to flow and focus on trying to feel the change and following the energy to where it wants you to go, right? It doesn't want you to stay stuck. It doesn't want you to stay looking at those 3 cups, right? It wants you to move forward. Like, try to tap into it and follow it, right? Queen of Swords, very interesting. So after this tower strikes, I think this is coming through as an instruction, right? It's to put up those boundaries to those people and situations that have not been working well for you, that have maybe been draining you, right? Or causing other problems and keeping you held back, right? Very firm boundaries are going to be called for. And I think that's the bad foundation that this tower is striking at, right? Why some of these people and relationships and situations have to be removed, right? There's a lack of boundaries there, a lack of respect, I think, right? Yeah. And after you set those boundaries, that's when this energy of this Ten of Pentacles can come in, and you're going to have to maintain those boundaries to protect this Ten of Pentacles. Yeah. And success is here with the Six of Wands, victory after what feels like a very long battle, right? Yeah. But the Tower is here because, yeah, something important in people's lives has been built on a shoddy foundation, and you cannot have a Ten of Pentacles on top of that. You can pretend to for a while, and lots of people do, right? But it's going to come down eventually, right? So it's doing it now is better than doing it later. So try to think of it that way, right? That at least it's not further along, right? When there's even more to tear down, right? The overall energy is temperance. You feel how the energy is flowing and things are improving. Right, the surface is that pre-shuffle was just at the surface, right, with that 5 cups, right? When you go deeper, you can see and feel things improving. And that Tower, as frightening as that card can be, it's part of the improvement process, right? We're doing a renovation, right? Some things have to be torn down in order to do that, right? Temperance is here to balance things, right? This is the overall energy of the reading I'm about to pull. Right? Angel energy, card of alchemy, right? Bringing things into equilibrium and balance, right? It's also a very healing energy, because remember I said I felt like there was blood in those 3 cups? Like a lot of pain and like wounds and yeah, just a lot of difficulty, like emotionally, right? Very, very painful energy is coming off of that card. This is here to help heal that. So that energy is here, so try your best to tap into it and feel it. There's a King of Wands here, very interesting. So for some of you, I think this is going to mean that you have to start to tap into this aspect of your personality, in the sense of being ambitious, moving forward, setting lofty goals and heading towards them with vim and vigor, right? It's the opposite of that Five of Cups energy, right? Sitting there, focusing on what's gone wrong. The King of Wands can be a bit, maybe callous is too strong a word, but they're not somebody who dwells on things that have gone wrong, right? It's somebody who's always looking for the next thing, the next best thing. It doesn't. It can go badly sometimes. It can become a bit of a selfish and self-focused energy, especially in relationships. But I think the idea of looking for the next best thing would help some people break out of the kind of despondence that's here, right? For others of you, this is going to be someone in your life who has these King of Wands attributes, and something with them has caused a problem and needs to be healed, right? Yeah, and here's why, the Lovers, right? For some of you, this is somebody that you're in, I don't know, maybe a soulmate connection with right now has gone wrong, right? And it needs to be healed in some way, right? For others of you, this is about just balancing something inside of yourself. The Lovers is a very balanced energy. It's about healthy relationships. Remember that 2 cups on that 5 of Cups? Yeah, this is about creating the energy around you and inside you to be able to find that, to tap into what this feels like, right? Tap into what the Lovers energy feels like. This card is also called the Choice, right? It's also called the Choice in older decks, right? And I get the sense that some of you, where the King of Wands represents a person, you're going to have to make a choice about this person. They might be in those 3 overturned cups. Remember I said that Knight of Cups might come in and you have to decide whether or not, you find the apology sincere and if there's changed behavior. I think this is the person that likely applies to, a King of Wands, right? So under here, yeah. There's a fearful energy of holding back with this 4 of Pentacles, right? Wanting to feel safe, wanting to hold on to some of the material things you have. I think this is tied to why that Knight of Pentacles is so slowed down, right? This 4 of Pentacles energy comes from a place of fear. It's the opposite of that strength energy, right? That belief that things are going to move forward and go well, and that you have the strength to push through the obstacles and the struggles, right? So some of you might be in a 4 of Pentacles and you're holding back from this Lover's energy, sometimes for good reason, right? There's a reason those cups are overturned, right? And I'm picking up what feels like blood in them, right? There's a reason for that, right? But it's getting to the point now where you might be blocking this energy. This is also an angel card here with Temperance as well, right? That energy of balance and healing is here, and some of you might be holding back from it, right? And it's to do with this King of Pentacles energy, right? This stability. You want this stability, and this 4 of Pentacles sometimes can feel like stability. This King of Pentacles is here to remind you that no, there's a much higher level that this thing can be taken to, right? That you're being called to because of the way that 10 of Pentacles showed up, right? It's there for the taking, but some of these changes have to happen first, right? Let me see, yeah. Here's a Queen of Cups. So this looks like to me that there's an energy here of 2 kings and a queen. Remember I said the Lovers is about a choice. So some of you might end up having a choice between 2 people, right? Some of you might end up having a choice between 2 people. And I think the warning here is to not be so focused on stability that maybe you make the wrong choice. I'm not saying the King of Pentacles is the wrong choice. I'm saying to have this Queen of Cups energy, the cups guide the decision, right? If you make it based on this kind of miserly, looking for stability and holding back energy, even if this is the right person, it's going to taint the relationship. It won't be in this equal lovers energy, right? It won't be balanced. The Four of Pentacles is not balanced energy, right? So I'm going to pull a Celtic cross. Let's see what comes out. Okay, so what's the issue here? Five of Pentacles, yeah, it's tied to that Four of Pentacles. Somebody's afraid of poverty, which is, reasonable, perfectly reasonable. But it's created a lack mentality in some people that I feel people are getting past. There's too much positive energy here for it to be as controlling as it might be coming across, right? I think this is the final step someone has to take. They have to get over this lack mentality and this fear that they're going to end up in this poverty, right? And that's going to be different for different people because it manifests itself in different ways, right? Some people hoard certain things. There's a way you can hoard money. They hoard things that make them feel comfortable. Some people, it's not really hoarding, but they maintain these kind of negative relationships because they make them feel safe. They don't feel alone, right? They don't feel cut off. This is also a card of separation, right? So again, use your discernment to decide how this resonates for you. What's the challenge here? 10 of Wands, yeah, we're at the end of a very burdensome cycle, right? Somebody has been carrying a lot of weight and they want to put it down, and it's tied back to this lack mentality, right? Somebody's at their breaking point, right? Someone's at their breaking point, and it's to do with these changes that are happening, right? I think the situation was already burdensome, but then this cycle closing, I think, has added more weight, and it's been very difficult for some people, right? What's the crown of the reading? What's in somebody's head? There's that Two of Cups I've been talking about, right? There's that Two of Cups. This idea of wanting that equal relationship, wanting a good relationship, wanting good connections, but maybe not knowing how to get them, and feeling like maybe you might never get them here with this Five of Pentacles. You're always going to be out in the cold. You're always going to be left out, right? What's the root of this reading? What's happening in somebody's life? Yeah, the Empress. Remember I said that the changes are here, right? It's just taking a bit of time to come in, right? And the holding back and that lack mentality, this Five of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles, and some of that similar energy that comes from that frustration and fear, right? It's preventing this Empress energy from taking over, right? It's here. It's right here in the present, right? This abundance, right? It's right here. Very beautiful energy, right? All four queens combined, right? Somebody has done the work, right? This Empress energy is here, and I think what's coming through is that some of you don't feel like this. So if I say, "Oh, you're the Empress," you're like, "What are you talking about? My life is a mess. I don't have the money I need to do the things I need to do. My career isn't where I want it to be. I don't have a good relationship. What do you mean I'm the Empress?" I don't know what to tell you. It's here, right? But we're in a transitional period, right? So give the energy time to flow and do its work, right? Especially that Death card, it really needs to churn through some things to get through to the other side. Same for that Tower. I think maybe the Tower is here to speed things up, right? You want things to move faster, right? The Tower moves faster than Death. It's like happens in an instant sometimes, right? So things are happening the way they maybe need to, not the same as the way you want them to, right? What's in the recent past? The Fool. Yeah, here's that new beginning. I think a lot of you've done the work and you've pushed through and you're starting this new cycle, and it's overwhelming. You're right at the beginning. Those things that you want to come in aren't here yet, and there's doubt creeping in, right? But here's the thing with the Fool, like you jumped off a cliff, right? It's really difficult to turn things back. So just keep moving forward, right? Just keep moving forward, right? The fall is scary. The fall is scary, and I think that's what we're experiencing now, especially with that Tower. The fall is here. The fall part of the Fool is here, right? And the landing is this Empress energy, right? So just keep having confidence in this and waiting for it to catch you, right? What's in the near future? Judgment, very interesting. Because judgment happens right before the world comes in to close a cycle, and this is in the near future. So it seems like for some of you, there may be more than one major cycle that's closing, and that's why this point in time is particularly difficult, right? There's a bit more work to do in that other cycle, right? So you're falling, hoping this Empress energy will catch you, and you're also trying to close out another cycle of some kind here. There's more that needs to come to the surface and be dealt with. This is a card of second chances, of redemption, right? So there's more that needs to be pulled up to the surface to be looked at and worked on, right? Yeah, I understand now why that Five of Cups was there. This is difficult. It's very challenging, and I understand why people are struggling with this. It's a heavy burden for one person to carry, because what's happening is that people are realizing that what they thought were support systems were not, and they're having to leave those behind while all these what feel like burdens are being put on them, right? And it's very difficult to manage. All right, what's in someone's ego? Ten of Cups, yeah. Somebody wants this emotional fulfillment, this happy ending, this fairy tale ending. I think this is good, right? Having that positive energy inside you, like focus on that. The thing that you know you want, that start to believe that you deserve it, right? And allow the energy of creating that in your life to flow towards you faster, and with more intensity, right? That lack mentality, this Ten of Wands. Somebody has a burden they need to put down, right? It's going to be different for different people, but this has been so far largely about relationships. It might have to do with somebody it's going to be very difficult for you to disconnect from, and you don't quite know how to do that, right? So we'll see. What's in someone's environment? There's the world. There's that closing cycle. So it's exactly what I said, right? This cycle is closing, right? This cycle is closing, right? This judgment work is almost finished. So there are two overlapping cycles for some people, because what's been coming through is that for a lot of people, these difficult relationships are, their family that they grew up with, and for other people, it's something else, maybe a friendship. For a lot of people, it's going to be a romantic relationship. It might be your spouse, and I think for some people, and that's who this reading is for, that those relationships represent two different cycles for some reason. For most people, it's the same cycle. For this particular group I'm reading for right now, I can't quite put my finger on why. It's two separate cycles, because they're two different kind of issues that need to be dealt with. They're related, but the judgment work that needs to be done, I think, is slightly different, right? And that's why this particular group is having so many issues, right? Why it's harder. Two major life cycles are closing. I think one from childhood, right? And one from adulthood. They're connected, right? It's about how you relate to people and how you shape your relationships. But they're different enough that it counts as two separate cycles. That explains a lot. All right, what's someone's hopes and fears? Yeah. Three of Swords. Remember I said there's blood in that cup? Blood in those cups? Yeah. I think I said that cup because there's one in particular that's very painful, right? I think somebody hopes this pain will go away and they fear that it might never, right? So this Three of Swords, I think, is the issue here. It's tied back to this Five of Pentacles and this Ten of Wands, right? This pain is part of the burden. The pain is the source of the feeling of separation and, feeling out in the cold and that lack mentality. And maybe why people hold on to people in situations that aren't good for them, right? This pain, yeah, it's right on top of the world, right? Here with judgment in the world, like it needs to be dealt with, right? It needs to be dealt with. What's the potential final outcome? Nine of Swords, yeah. So this card had been coming up. It went away for a while and now it's back. I think this energy of this nightmare, up all night, maybe not sleeping, pacing the room, maybe. You're right at the end. Nines are the end in tarot, and someone is just struggling to hold on. I think this is very difficult energy, a lot of negative thoughts. When it's here with the Three of Swords, I think that emotional and mental pain can become very destabilizing. So for some people, to help you close this cycle, you may need to speak to someone, maybe even a professional, right, to help you work through some of these anxieties, these stresses, these feelings of betrayal and pain, right? But as I said, I think what was important about that Five of Cups is that the feeling I got was that somebody has accepted the quality of the relationships that they have been in, and they've seen that they're not what they appear to be. And it's understandable for this to be here, right? But this cycle needs to close. It's in your environment, the world. The world to me sometimes comes through as a portal, right? That somebody needs to walk through, right? And it's going to be impossible to do that in the Nine of Swords, right? So some improvement needs to be seen here, and it's going to be different for different people. For some of you, just hearing me say this might trigger something that helps you take that step forward. Other people are going to need to figure out where to get some help from, right? But take heart in knowing that the energy of the world is here. The energy to close this cycle out is here, and the Fool is already on the table, right? You've already done the work. You've taken that leap of faith. There's just a bit more that needs to be done to close this kind of cycle that was a bit hidden behind the other one, right? I was really only picking up on one major cycle closing. I can see now why the energy was so powerful and why a certain group of people are having so much difficulty. It's two major life cycles closing at once.